Summary of the War Below, Lithium, Copper, and the Global Battle to Power Our Lives, written by Ernest Scheyder. Chapter 1. In the fall of 2018, as the winds of change swept through the energy landscape, I found myself at a crossroads, transitioning from covering the U.S. oil industry's fracking revolution to the intriguing world of miners vying to supply lithium and other essential metals for the green energy transition. The advice from a banking contact was clear: you should meet James Callaway. He knows everything there is to know about lithium and starting a lithium company. Eager to embrace this new opportunity, I reached out to James Callaway, a name synonymous with expertise in the lithium sector. Within 90 minutes of sending an email, my cell phone buzzed, and a voice introduced itself as James Callaway. Not only was he willing to talk about lithium, but he was also conveniently based in Houston, my chosen hub after switching beats. Our rendezvous over lunch revealed a man with a casual demeanor, sporting broad-rimmed glasses reminiscent of J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. Callaway's unconventional style, with an untucked shirt, stood in stark contrast to the conservative dress code of energy giants like ExxonMobil. Raised in a Texas family deeply rooted in oil and natural gas, Callaway's journey towards championing renewable energy was not just surprising but indicative of a personal mission to combat climate change. As a sixth-generation Texan, Callaway grew up witnessing his father's relentless efforts in building a successful oil and gas company. The irony was not lost on him when he declared, "When people think of Texas, they think of oil." But the roots of my interest in energy were in just the opposite area. His commitment to saving the planet from extreme temperatures and climate change became the driving force behind a career that took unexpected turns. The narrative unfolds Callaway's early engagement with nuclear arms control during the 1970s. Inspired by his professor Walt Rostow, a former U.S. national security advisor, Callaway initially saw nuclear disarmament as a means to protect the world from potential mass extinction events. However, Ronald Reagan's election in 1980 shifted the landscape, prompting Callaway to turn his attention to space exploration. Together with retired NASA engineers, Callaway founded Space Industries Incorporated, envisioning a future of commercialized space travel and living. Despite initial support from Reagan's administration, bureaucratic hurdles and short-sightedness in Washington led to the demise of Callaway's ambitious venture. This experience marked his first disillusionment with the misalignment between political rhetoric and actionable policies. Years later, having ventured into various businesses, Callaway found himself grappling with the moral dilemma of contributing to oil and gas production. Recognizing the environmental impact and potential harm to future generations, he decided to shift his focus. His transition led to a chance encounter with the electric vehicle (EV) landscape during the Aspen Ideas Festival in 2007. Amid discussions dominated by the Middle East, Callaway stumbled upon a breakout session on electric vehicles, a topic unfamiliar to him at the time. The rise and fall of GM's EV1 and Toyota's Prius intrigued him, and he delved into the world of electric cars. His newfound interest in EVs marked a pivotal moment, leading him to battery conferences and an in-depth exploration of the chemical element that would define his next chapter, lithium. Callaway's realization that lithium was a crucial component in the batteries powering electric vehicles sparked a deep interest in securing a sustainable supply of the metal. In 2009, he found himself meditating on a salt flat in northern Argentina, contemplating an enormous lithium deposit controlled by Orcobra. This moment marked the beginning of Callaway's journey into lithium mining. Having invested $4 million in Orcobra, Callaway became its chairman, navigating bureaucratic challenges in Argentina. The company's success, marked by a doubled stock value and a significant deal with Japanese automakers, fueled Callaway's passion for lithium. Even retirement couldn't keep him away from the industry. In 2016, a call from Australia changed the trajectory of Callaway's career. Investors were eyeing the Nevada desert, hoping to find gold and copper. Callaway's reputation as a knowledgeable figure in the lithium sector led to a collaboration. Rhyolite Ridge, initially considered for gold and copper, turned out to be sitting atop a substantial lithium deposit, the second largest in the U.S. This discovery fueled Callaway's vision for domestic lithium production, aligning with the growing global demand for EVs. The formation of Ioneer, with a focus on producing ions for EV batteries, marked a crucial step. As Callaway and his team delved into geological tests and feasibility studies, the environmental community raised concerns, particularly regarding dry stack tailings. The summer of 2020 brought an unexpected twist. In the arid hills of Rhyolite Ridge, thousands of Team's buckwheat flowers, found nowhere else on Earth, mysteriously died overnight. This ecological incident posed a threat to Callaway's vision of leaving a cleaner Earth for future generations. The story encapsulates Callaway's journey from oil and gas to renewable energy, from nuclear arms control to space exploration, and ultimately, to becoming a pioneer in the lithium industry. His commitment to mitigating climate change, coupled with a pragmatic approach to business, defines a narrative that unfolds against the backdrop of an evolving energy landscape. As the demand for lithium and other EV metals continues to rise, Callaway's story exemplifies the importance of individuals steering industries toward sustainable practices. His quest for a domestic supply of lithium reflects the broader shift toward greener technologies, emphasizing the need for a harmonious balance between environmental stewardship and technological advancement. Chapter 2. In the arid landscapes of Arizona, where the echoes of the U.S. Civil War still reverberate, lies a tale of resilience, conflict, and an ongoing struggle for cultural preservation. Apache Leap, a 4,700-foot-tall cliff near the small settlement of Superior, serves as a poignant reminder of the clash between the indigenous San Carlos Apache people and the forces of power that sought to marginalize and exploit them in the 19th century. The oral tradition of the San Carlos Apache recounts a grim chapter in history when Union soldiers ambushed Apache warriors, forcing them to the precipice of Apache Leap. Faced with the choice of surrendering or leaping to their deaths, the warriors opted for an honorable demise in defense of their homeland and values. While the literal accuracy of the tale may be debated, the emotional weight it carries within the community is undeniable. The creation of the San Carlos Apache Reservation in 1871, approved by President Ulysses S. Grant, marked a formal acknowledgement of the Apache people's right to their ancestral lands. However, this act of recognition was marred by exclusion. Apache Leap and the adjacent Chichil-Bildagotil, a place steeped in religious significance for generations, were left outside the reservation boundaries. This oversight set the stage for a complex narrative of dispossession, economic exploitation, and environmental impact. Major General George Crook, a military leader in the late 1800s, infamously referred to Arizona's Apache as the tiger of the human species, encapsulating the prevailing contempt towards the indigenous peoples. Orders were issued for the killing of all male Apache on site, reflecting a dehumanizing perspective that justified brutal policies. The U.S. Indian agent Diego Archuleta, in 1859, painted a derogatory picture of the Apache in a letter to the New York Times, characterizing them as an obstacle to mining operations and advocating for their forced relocation to reservations. The San Carlos Apache Reservation, conceived with nearly 1.8 million acres, still fell short of encompassing the sacred Apache Leap and Chichil-Bildagotil. This exclusion was a strategic move, ensuring that the mining interests and settlers would have unrestricted access to the mineral-rich lands. The reservation, despite being hailed as a step toward recognizing indigenous rights, became, in the eyes of the San Carlos Apache, the world's first and oldest concentration camp. As the region around Superior thrived due to copper mining, with the area gaining the moniker Copper Corridor, the San Carlos Apache Reservation languished. The Magma Mine in Superior, the world's first air-conditioned mine in 1937, symbolized the heights and lows of the industry. Economic prosperity fluctuated with the copper market, leading to closures and devastating impacts on the local economy. By 2005, about half of all children born on the reservation tested positive for drugs or alcohol, reflecting the social and economic challenges faced by the community. The town of Superior, closely tied to the mining industry, experienced economic instability. The median annual income in 2020 was approximately $22,000, with 25% of the population living in poverty, figures significantly below the national average. The boom and bust cycles of the mining sector played a central role in the town's economic trajectory, highlighting the vulnerability of communities dependent on resource extraction. In 1995, a glimmer of economic hope emerged with the discovery of over 40 billion pounds of copper near the Magma mine and underneath Oak Flat. This untapped copper deposit, named Resolution Copper, promised to be one of the largest in the world. The grade of the copper was an enticing 1.5%, making it twice as profitable as nearby competitors. The prospect drew the interest of BHP Group, one of the world's largest mining companies, which acquired Magma's owner in 1996. However, the path to realizing the economic potential of Resolution Copper was fraught with challenges. The copper market's fluctuations, combined with the substantial costs of further exploration, led BHP to close its other American copper mines by 1999. In a strategic move, BHP joined forces with Rio Tinto, another global mining giant, to share the financial burden of exploring the underground deposit and gaining access to the land. The ambitious targets set by the Paris Climate Accords brought renewed attention to the indispensable role of copper in green energy transition devices. Copper, known for its conductivity, malleability, and resistance to corrosion, has been a vital metal for nearly 5,000 years. As the world aims to achieve carbon neutrality by 2050, copper's demand is projected to more than double from 25 million tons in 2022 to 53 million tons by 2050. Dan Yergin, a renowned energy historian, warns that the world might face wars over copper in the 21st century if there is insufficient supply to meet the demands of the energy transition. S&P Global emphasizes the potential necessity for the United States to increase its copper imports from 44% to as much as 67% by 2035 unless domestic production is ramped up. Amidst this global backdrop, the Resolution Copper project, poised to contribute a quarter of the copper consumed annually in the United States, takes center stage. The San Carlos Apache people, however, resist the potential desecration of their sacred land. Chichilbildagotil, more than 25 miles away from the reservation's western edge, holds immense religious significance. It is a place where tribal members conduct ceremonies, pray, and celebrate rites of passage. The conflict over Resolution Copper unfolds against the historical backdrop of Oak Flat, a federal campground that emerged in the mid-20th century. President Dwight Eisenhower's executive order in 1955 prohibited mining and other development at the campground, a directive renewed by President Richard Nixon in 1971, albeit with modifications favoring the mining industry. The subsequent discovery of the Resolution Copper deposit in the 1990s tested the resilience of these protective measures. The permitting process for the Resolution Copper mine became a prolonged battle involving federal laws, political decisions, and the delicate balance between economic interests and environmental preservation. In 2014, President Barack Obama signed the Carl Levin and Howard P. Buck McKeon National Defense Authorization Act, which included a clause facilitating a land swap to grant Rio Tinto access to the copper-rich land in exchange for other acreage. However, the land swap faced opposition, and the Trump administration's publication of an environmental report in its final days sparked legal disputes. The Biden administration, after taking office, rescinded the report, putting the Resolution project on hold. The complexities surrounding the final investment decision by Rio Tinto add layers of uncertainty, emphasizing the unresolved tension between cultural heritage and economic ambitions. The concerns raised by the San Carlos Apache people encapsulate broader debates about the ethical implications of resource exploitation. Sandra Rambler, a San Carlos Apache elder, expresses the desire for the right to pray at Chichilbildagotil without interference from foreign mining companies. The potential destruction of this sacred site, combined with the environmental impact, becomes a microcosm reflecting global dilemmas about cultural preservation, resource extraction, and sustainable development. As the author decides to visit Superior for a first-hand experience, the passage leaves us on the cusp of a perfect storm where cultural heritage clashes with economic ambitions, and environmental concerns intersect with the need for natural resources. The story of Apache Leap becomes emblematic of the broader challenges humanity faces in reconciling economic progress with environmental and cultural preservation. In navigating this struggle, the question looms, what matters more in the pursuit of progress, cultural heritage or economic prosperity? The answer, it seems, is as complex and contested as the cliffs of Apache Leap themselves.